Welcome to the SHW podcast.
SHW, this is our wrestling.
Hey, you think you could walk all over me, but I don't see that happening. We're warriors who strike terror into the hearts of others without warning. You say
And now, the Voices of Southern Honor Wrestling.
Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
fight our way to
What's going on, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means? It's time for your favorite podcast. This is our wrestling, the SHW podcast. I'm B-Double Brandon Benefield, alongside the great GB Gerard Bonner, the lovely Diana Michelle, and we have a special guest this week. You know him as, well, I don't know. Your favorite wrestler is Sunny Days. I don't want to go too far behind the curtain here, but we got Dylan
I feel like
Frymyer.
I've gone over that Mick Foley threshold.
Yeah. One of the faces of Frymyer,
Yeah,
the
that's
main
just fun.
Frymyer, Dylan Frymyer. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Good.
Doing well.
Doing well.
Good to be here with you guys.
Yeah.
It's always good to see your pretty faces. And you know, I was doing a podcast with Nick McDaniel, and I was talking about like all the like underrated people of Southern Honor, and I just always appreciate you guys and want you guys to know how much I appreciate you guys and everything you guys
Thanks.
done and what
Thank you.
Brandon and GB did in 2020 to start this podcast and Diana coming on. So I always appreciate you guys.
Thank you, buddy.
It's good to be here.
Thanks.
Thank you.
By
Thank you.
the
We
way, though,
appreciate that.
Isn't it crazy to think 2020? So we started this podcast when the pandemic hit
Yeah.
after a couple of months, and now here we are 5 years later, over 5 years later, still
Yeah, it's
rocking and
weird.
rolling.
I was talking about that the other days because sometimes it still feels like we're living in it, right?
Yeah.
So
True. Very
it's
true.
crazy that we're 5 years removed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
very, very
wild.
true.
Well, we are, speaking of being removed, we are a few months removed from SHW 77, which was we talked to Joe last week about this. It was basically the end of an era here at Southern Honor Wrestling. Of course, not the end of Southern Honor by any means, but the end of an era as far as in the Action Building, which has been the home of Southern Honor for the last 7 years. And of course, we are just a few weeks away from our 7-year anniversary, still here 7, and that'll be taking place at a new venue, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But Dylan, just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on the whole thought process behind putting that show together, SHW 77, Leave the Memories Alone. I mean, coming into it, I guess we didn't have a whole lot of notice, but we had a month or two notice, knowing that was going to be the final one in the Action Building, and just knowing that you wanted to make it a special show, wanted to touch on the history of Southern Honor, which, by the way, you did an amazing job. You, Jake, Sal, all the guys in the office doing a great job putting that show together, and just really all the threads that came together for that show that just spanned the entire 7-year history, I thought was an incredible job. And I can't wait for the fans, if they weren't there, to be able to go see it on IWTV. But just, what all went into that? What was your thought process putting that whole thing together?
Well, of course, it was such a shock when we found out that we were about to lose the building, and I think my brain and that was we found out like a few weeks before the Rumble Jack, and I think my brain shifted more to the meaning of that show, even more so than the Rumble Jack maybe, and it's just because the building has meant so much to us. It's given us so much ability and freedom, and I mean, it was our home, and there is going to be a lot of changes, not being in the Action Building anymore. When it came to putting this show together, I was booking it for the fans, but I was booking it for myself, and I figured if I was putting the show together for myself and the people that meant something to me while creating Southern Honor, it was going to mean something to the fans. And and the people that were involved. And so yeah, I definitely went back to our roots for a lot of matches and a lot of faces and really focused on the past probably more so than the future of Southern Honor. And it was just it ended up being a special night and a lot of really cool moments and memories. And for me personally, to be in there with Sal and Ravenna and Logan was really special. Ravenna hadn't wrestled very many matches in the building. We tagged once, but so it was cool for her to come back 'cause she's been gone for a while,
Hmm.
and then to be in there with my two tag partners that I always say that I probably wouldn't be wrestling anymore if it wasn't for tagging with Sal these
Hmm.
days. So to bring that together with Logan, who got me through the first couple years of Southern Honor, was really special. So, and then to be in there with who we were in there with, I mean, I can't tell you guys how proud I am of guys like Lee Johnson and Alan Angels for doing what they've done in their careers, and you know, to have them start with us and then to be able to come back and donate their time and also just make sure they were part of this moment or this show. And then Danny, she was technically retired,
Hmm.
in her words. I don't know if anyone retires, but um but AC Mac, he stays retired.
Yeah.
He's
For
probably the only
now.
one I
For
believe
So
now.
that will
far.
stay
Hmm.
retired. I believe AC Mac, but he's about it. But
Although he got
so
involved by the end of the
he
night.
did get
He
involved,
did.
but that was also one of those things that was like really cool to just see because of the history and
Hmm.
Southern Honor was built on all their backs and like I said, I can't appreciate all of them so much enough. So.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. What an incredible night. Let me ask you this. Did you feel any degree of pressure? I mean, once you found out that the building was being lost, and obviously you're in the midst of planning Rumble Jack, and you've got your calendar pretty much planned out. Rumble Jack's coming, Still Here's coming, and now this massive, interruption with not having the building. Um, what kind of pressure, if any, did you feel about planning that special show, Leave the Memories Alone? Because I've got to imagine that a show that's usually the buffer between Rumblejack and Still Here 7 just became like the most important show of the year based on losing the building. What kind of pressure did you feel around that?
Yeah, I mean, so when you first get the news, you're thinking maybe this is the end of Southern Honor, right? So because you don't know what's next, and then once we find out that we probably have a building and we'll be okay and all that stuff. Yeah, there's definitely pressure because you're like, do you want to do this buffer show to Still Here, like we would normally have done, or do we just throw everything out the window and create something completely, you know, um, just in memory of the building? So,
Hmm.
yeah, there was a ton of pressure. It was it's weird. I want to say there was a lot of pressure, but it was also like me just having fun with the card and creating like so after the Rumble Jack you have your main event. So as long as you have your main event still here, then everything else can be kind of built around it. And the thing about the Rumble Jack is there's not a lot of time between Rumble Jack and still here. So a lot of stuff is building out of the Rumble Jack. And so I was able to, I think, keep the things that were loose ends like infantry and skulk. They
Hmm.
that didn't need. I mean, they've had a year worth of stuff, so you throw the Dallas Brothers in there. I'm giving stuff away. You throw the Dallas Brothers in
I was
there.
gonna say, how
So,
far do you want to go here? Because we haven't posted
but
everything.
but we're still able to connect those dots and still have two or three things that'll that'll affect still here, but then also an entire show, built around the legacy of the action building.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's significant. And so let me ask you this, because this show literally became the biggest show of the year. I mean,
Yeah.
I it's hard to argue that. And it's weird because for Southern Honor, usually our biggest shows are Rumble Jack Still Here. Though this year has just been one of those years where it's like every show is the biggest show. Like it's
Yeah.
just been like that.
Yeah.
And so looking ahead to Still Here 7, do you feel pressure for Still Here 7, or does Still Here 7 really feel like the start of a new chapter, which is a kind of takes pressure off? Does that
Hmm.
make sense? So is
I
it like an
mean,
anniversary situation, or is it
New begin.
chapter one of a brand
right,
page one of chapter two?
right. Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of pressure because it's a new building. You want to keep the Southern Honor feel, right?
Hmm.
And so there's a lot of pressure of having people making your fan base come, be a new building,
Hmm.
different space, reservations for seats are going to be different. Everything's going to be different.
Okay,
So it's just a matter of trial and error with this next show. So there's a lot of pressure there. There's also a lot of pressure. There's definitely a lot of pressure around the card, but it's all the other stuff that's more of the pressure.
sure.
For 7 years, we haven't had to set up the ring, and now we're back to setting up the ring and taking down the ring in the same night, which
Hmm.
is stuff we didn't have to factor before,
Yeah.
just because of the privilege we had of the action building. So those are the things I think that are creating pressure, needing more help, and delegating and trying to find the help. So I think all that stuff creates the pressure more so than because I know once I get the guys in the ring, I trust our locker room against
Hmm.
anybody, so I ain't worried about our guys going out there and performing.
Hmm.
Um, yes, you want to put there's pressure on putting on good cards to make people come and want to sit down, under it. We'll just get to it. The new show's under a pavilion, right? So, um, now there'll be heaters and all that stuff, but it's just different. It's going to be more
Hmm.
of an outside show, and tickets are going to be different, and seating is going to be different, and presentation is going to be different. So, yeah, it's there's a lot of pressure.
I let them know last week, Dylan, that we had the wedding of the Killbilly and Susie Quinn a couple of weeks back, and so you and I actually got to get a little sneak peek of the venue. Of course, we're talking about Reformation Brewery at the Mill on Etowah, and it's literally right around the corner from the Action Building. So there's no excuse for you not to make it to this show. It's not like you're going out of your way to come see us. It's right around the corner. But what were your thoughts? And I was telling them also. This is the first time I've ever seen a wrestling match at a wedding before, and so there was
Right.
actually a wrestling ring there. So we kind of got a little sneak peek at what wrestling could look like at that venue. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the way they had the ring set up, it wasn't under the pavilion, and we're going to be under the pavilion, and Gary and I went up there, I don't know, I think it was last Tuesday, and we met with some people over there and we were just talking about it. And, you know, um, yeah, it's gonna be different, more than anything. Seeing it there, I think there's a lot of space. Um, it, you know, it's really one of those things that we're just gonna have to wait and see
Yeah.
because it looks like a lot of space, but then it's like you put our crowd there, how much space is there really? And
Hmm.
then also then you put the ring under the thing, and but then it's also like, well, it could just look packed and look great, you know.
Yes.
So, um, and then also like what's too much, what's not enough, or so a lot of those questions are gonna be hard to answer because you just don't know until we go and do it. Like, where are we gonna put, you and GB? Like,
Yeah.
we just don't know yet. So, um, yeah, the day of the show is gonna be really interesting, setting up the ring and
Yeah.
and figuring it out. And
Mhm.
like, do we, you know, just sell two rows of chairs and then everyone else stands, or bring your own chair or stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be a lot of trial and error and figuring it out as we go.
And the luxury of being able to go behind the curtain just to grab a table or whatever
Yeah,
we may
exactly.
need. It's just
Mhm.
different.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't create our own space anymore. So,
Right.
um, yeah, those are the things that's the pressures or challenges that are
Mhm.
headed our way. So, but we'll figure it out. We always do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on it. I was thinking the same thing. Like as far as the matches and the show running itself, like it's gonna be great because we've got the
Mhm.
locker room for it. We've got the talent back there, and so I'm not worried about that part. But it's all the other logistics that we're not used to that are gonna be a little tricky, and we're gonna make it work like we always do. So
Mhm.
I know it's gonna go off as it goes off, and we'll make it work, and it'll be great. But we'll see. It's gonna be kind of fun for everybody. It's a little new experience, and
Mhm.
we'll make it happen. But on the note of you just mentioned Gary there a second ago, and I just wanted to ask you about this because I know he doesn't necessarily need permission to make his own match. But were you guys caught off guard? Because the rest of us were caught off guard when all of a sudden he threw out a challenge to Matt Griffin for a cage match. It's still here. What's that all about?
I was definitely caught off guard, and um, I'm excited to see it though. So,
Yeah.
Matt deserves an ass whooping. So, hopefully, I mean, I trust Gary to give him a good old redneck butt whooping. So, um, but and I'll be shocked if anything else happens different, if it, differently. So, it should
Mhm.
be exciting. Even that, like the cage under the pavilion, that'll be interesting
Hmm.
because you're gonna get more of a Hell in a Cell feel, right? Because
Yeah,
Right.
Mhm.
there might not be much room to go. So,
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely interesting. And I think, some of the other matches that are going to be announced, I think are also very exciting. There's one match, that hasn't been announced, but we haven't had one in Southern Honor history. So, that'll be a fun announcement and an intriguing matchup for sure when that breaks the news. So.
Hmm.
Well, last week,
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
speaking of breaking news, last week we had the SHW champion Joe Black on here, and great time. Always love when he comes through. And we were talking about Still Here 7, and we were talking about that very cage match actually between Gary Lamb and Matt Griffin, and he proceeded to say that he now wants his title match to be, first of all, he wants the cage to stay up. Then he wants a Clockwork Orange match. We were caught way off guard. And
Wow.
yeah, so th- we've not had a chance for anyone to publicly say anything about this since it just broke last week. What are your thoughts in terms of hearing this news? Have you heard anything from the powers that be? I mean, is this a thing or is this just wishful thinking from the champ?
Well, I mean, I got a text after he got off the podcast saying, "Hey, this match is this." Um, so,
he did
and I
say,
was
"I'm the
like,
champ. I get what I
oh.
want," and I
He
was like, "Oh,
did.
He did.
I knew things were there was a bunch of ideas thrown around, but I got the text message to say, "Hey, this is what I said." I was like, "Oh." So, I took it to Jake, and we'll see what happens. But
Okay.
um, that's definitely very interesting too. Um, and it, you know, you would think a match like that would favor Joe. But it's also interesting on why would Joe put himself in that situation when he's already beaten Lev in a one-on-one match. So why wouldn't he want to? But I mean, Joe will challenge himself more than anyone will ever
Hmm. Yeah.
challenge him. So it doesn't shock me. Joe making things more complicated for Joe.
Well, hey,
Um,
real quick, Dylan, on that note, I mean, big shout out to Joe Black because even though Southern Honor did not have our main show this month, Joe has still been defending the title other places. Like he was in Alabama a week or two ago against
Hmm.
Justin McKenzie, defended it there, and then is it tomorrow night? I think he's facing Trayvon Ali up in North Carolina and
Hmm.
putting the SHW title on the line there too. So, tip of the cap to Joe Black for just still doing the work, even though, and again, we do have a show tomorrow, which we'll touch on. It's Fight and Fright Fest. We'll get there in a second. But your thoughts on Joe just going all over
yeah,
the place, defending that title?
I mean, this run that Joe's on is, I think the best of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the title reign we probably expected the first time.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it was meant to happen this time.
Hmm.
Um, years later, and stuff like that. I don't think happens by accident.
Hmm.
And what he's done with it has been amazing. And I mean, Joe is Southern Honor, and I love him like a brother, and I appreciate him more than anything. Um, you know, there was a moment after the main event, after Still Here, or not Still Here, after the SHW 77, and the video played, and I, went up to him, and I, was able to give him a hug. I think when that video played at the end of the show was when, even though I created the video, it was it was just kind of like the end of it all. And to see it and share it with Joe and David and see their reactions and, yeah, really special. So, but to be out there with Joe and, like I said, I love Joe like a brother. So, he's been killing it right now, and I don't expect anything less.
Right.
Yeah.
Good times for sure. So yeah, we'll wait patiently to see whether or not this announcement for Joe Black as at this Clockwork Orange
Yeah, I
match.
mean, I got that
Um,
text message. He's like,
yeah,
"Hey, this is the match." I'm
yeah,
like,
This is what I want.
"All right, Joe."
yeah. I'm absolutely here for it. So, we've talked a bit about some of the challenges. Now, this is going to be an interesting question that you will understand, most might not. But what do you find as you're looking at this new venue to be some of the production challenges or hurdles that you may have to deal with? I think one of the real wins of the action building was all of the opportunities for production. And it's really what set Southern Honor apart. The lights, the screens, obviously camera work, et cetera, et cetera. How, in terms of obviously the show will have a new look because it's a new venue. Are there production elements that you're looking to keep? Are there production elements that you're looking to add? What does that look like in terms of what
Yeah,
this show is going to look like?
yeah, it's one of those things. Is it's kind of still the trial and error too,
Okay.
um, because you know, yeah, we just don't know. I mean, of course, I'm a production guy, so I'm gonna try. We're gonna do our best to
Mhm.
keep everything that's Southern Honor about Southern Honor, and take it to this place. Just some of it will be unrealistic as far as what it looked like in the action building and what it'll look
Sure.
like here.
Hmm.
But we, hopefully have some tricks up our sleeves and still be able to bring some of that production and which separates us from most. So,
Hmm.
yeah, that's the goal is to bring to try our best and that's all we're gonna do.
For
So,
sure. For sure. Well, I'm excited. I think it's going to be anytime you step into a new space that offers new challenges, it also creates new opportunities. And
mhm.
I think, we get to see a different look for Southern Honor, a different feel. We get to see how we adjust. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a beautiful thing. And for us doing it, starting at least during these cold months. It's going to make the warm months that much more fun if we're
Right.
Yeah,
still
right.
in that
Yeah,
particular
and
venue.
I
So
think with with the the uncertainty in my answers and stuff like that, I think they're natural, but I don't think they're not out of fear or doubts that we can pull
yeah,
something off. So
yeah.
um it's just a lot of gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
Like I said, we're gonna make it happen.
yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
and
be
a lot of
great.
that stuff you don't know until you get in the moment and hook everything up and do all the things like it's like traveling when you're singing. You got to set up the sound and it's going to
Hmm.
sound different. It's going to look
Yep,
different everywhere you go and you just make it
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
The
yep.
product's the same.
Just bring a hoodie. We can
Hmm.
sell a lot of Southern Honor hoodies. So
There you go.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
looking forward to a hoodie
yeah,
for
it'll be
sure.
nice. November, I think November will be okay, but
Yeah.
it'll be those later months.
Yeah, it'll
Hmm.
be fun.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll
Change
figure
the
it out.
attire around, definitely.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. But all right, so two matches we know of for sure. Gary Lamb, Matt Griffin in a cage. And then we know that Joe will defend his title against Alexander Lev after Lev won the Rumble Jack. We don't know what type of match just yet, but we
Right.
will have that title match. So those are the two we know for sure. You kind of started touching on the tag team division there a second ago. Is there anything now? If you can't give anything away, don't give anything away. But can we get any kind of exclusive here? Have you talked to Jake and Sal? Do you know anything else that maybe you could drop a bombshell for us heading
I
into
mean, I
still here?
mean, I think the infantry and Skulk that I think they have unfinished business.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um, I think the Skulk eliminated the infantry in the Rumble Jack after they were already
Hmm.
eliminated.
Yeah.
And I think they've had a year worth of history building up. Um, but then I think the Dallas brothers threw a little wrench in the plans when they picked up a victory over the Skulk last month.
Hmm.
So, you know, I feel like to have the Skulk have a straight up championship, you know, as number one contenders, it's hard to call them number one contenders
Yeah.
after that loss. So, I think there's definitely been discussion with Jake about a triple threat tag team
Mm,
match for the titles.
okay.
And that's looking more and more like it might happen.
All right.
So
Breaking news, folks.
yeah,
Breaking
Wow.
news.
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
I love it.
So
All right. Well, very
yeah.
cool. And I can't wait. Obviously, we've got a few more weeks and we'll be dropping the match announcements as it gets closer. But very excited about that. Now, like I said, we pretty much took the month of October off as far as our normal show goes. However, we are having a show in October, October 25th, that being tomorrow in Cartersville, Georgia at Southern Devil Harley Davidson. They're having Fight and Fright Fest. The festivities go from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and SHW matches will start taking place at 12:30 p.m. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so let me just run through these matches that all this week you've been seeing on the social media, all these matches, all these announcements that got dropped. And so I'm going to run through them real quick, and then we'll let you touch on any of it if you want to. I know you're actually, or well, your favorite wrestler is involved in one of the matches, so we'll talk about that one for sure. But we're going to have a ride or die rules match in the main event between Spectre and the Killbilly, Nathan Mowry. And we know anytime those two are involved in anything, I mean, they're not calling it a death match here. They're calling it a ride or die rules match. But I imagine there's going to be some blood. There's going to be some chaos.
I'm pretty sure die is just a synonym of death. So,
Right? Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I
Yes.
don't know.
Um, there's some other folks on this card that either we haven't seen in a long time or that are brand new that we're seeing for the first time. We mentioned you mentioned the Dallas brothers a second ago. Aaron Dallas, Ron will be in action against Marvelous Michael Stevens, which would be fun. You've got
Wow.
Grayson Pierce and the newcomer, at least to SHW, Herculon Rage. Do you know much about this guy? This I'm new. He's new to me, but
I don't
this
know.
he looks
Uh,
impressive. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, he looks like a biker, right? So
yeah.
maybe he's part of some Harley Davidson gang. No, I mean, I heard a lot of great things. I think he's out of the WWA 4.
Okay.
Um, and I think he's had some history with Grayson actually as well in other places and spaces. So I know he's been doing good things in action wrestling, which caught my eye and got on the spot in the show. So excited to see. And something cool about this show is there are a lot of different faces. Compared to normal Southern Honor shows, but with us going to a new venue and opening new doors, that also opens new doors. And that's the other thing about, not being so tied in with because of SHW 77 and how it was structured, it leaves a lot of openings for still here
Yeah.
and opportunities for new faces. And a show like this is where people are gonna to stand out and you know, because technically our kind of our Southern Honor calendar year starts after Still Here, so
Hmm.
it's time for a lot of people to make new faces and you know, take advantage of opportunities. So
Hmm.
someone like Rage could actually, go out there and stand out,
Hey,
and
maybe
earn
he could
himself
do
a
us all a
spot on the
favor
future.
and put Grayson Pierce in his place
I wouldn't
because
mind it.
Grayson's been getting been a thorn in a lot of people's side as of late.
Uh,
So, well, speaking of Grayson Pierce, the Southern Belle, Isabella Wilder, will actually be in one-on-one competition against Corinne Joy. And of course, we've seen the Southern Belle accompanying Grayson Pierce as of late for his matches. So it'll be interesting to see her actually entering the ring and having a match here. Corinne Joy, a few of us, we've seen her in some other spaces as of late. And so excited to see that one. Do you know much about either of these ladies in
and I
in-ring
mean, they
competition?
have a lot of history with each other as well. Um, and it's just good to have women's wrestling back in Southern Honor.
Thank
So
you.
it'll be
Amen.
good to, and a lot of that's just, with Danny retiring, and for a long time there was a void, I think, in women's wrestling, and I feel like there's a little bit of a resurgence here in Georgia, and those two are part of that resurgence. So
Yeah.
it'll be nice to see what they can do out there.
Uh, a gentleman that made his debut at Southern Honor in the Rumble Jack, the OXP, will be returning, and he'll be taking on Hollywood Hunter James.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a match.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be a great match.
That'd be fun.
absolutely. And then, of course, we also have got the Superstars taking on Happy Madness. Any
Oh
words for the
my.
Superstars on behalf of your favorite wrestler, Sunny Days?
Um,
By the way, is it Sunny O'Lantern? Are we calling him Sunny Days or Sunny O'Lantern? Because he's got the orange paint on for this.
I mean, I think it's still Sunny Days,
Okay.
but
Okay.
um, might be a dark days for the superstars.
Got him.
Got
Mm.
'em. Uh,
Hmm.
they're impressive tag team. They're making their rounds. I've seen them on one FW television,
Hmm.
um, so it should be a fun matchup.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you never know what kind of state of mind Sal Renaro and Sunny Days might be in. So
Mm.
it's pretty early in the morning, so we'll see.
Twelve
Very
thirty
true.
is pretty early in
I
the morning
mean,
for those guys.
sun shines brightest at noon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
High
So,
noon.
Wait, I see Buff Bagwell's going to be there as well.
yep.
How about that? So
Come meet and greet with Buff Bagwell. So,
Very
and you never
cool.
know how things will be when Buff's around. So,
that's
Mhm.
right. Go check out the Southern Honor social media. Find the exact address, but it's Southern Devil Harley Davidson in Cartersville, Georgia, and it's this Saturday. The whole event takes place 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and the SHW matches start up at 12:30. And by the way, Dylan, I see your favorite wrestler working a bit of a double shot on Saturday. He's got that show, and then he's also facing. Well, you mentioned 1FW a second ago. He's also facing QT Marshall later that night at a 1FW show. Is he ready for that?
I don't know if he is ready for that,
All
but
right.
I don't know if QT's ready either. So, uh, I mean, it is Halloween, so um, maybe a lot of dark days ahead for a lot of people. So,
All right. All right.
um, no, it'll be a lot of fun. I don't know if Sunny Days has done a double shot in a long, long time. Um, Sal might need to take care of the superstars. Let's just say that.
Mm.
So
You'll be getting most of the ring time for that one.
yeah.
Okay.
But no, I mean wrestling's alive, so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
It
I'm glad to be a
is.
part of it, a lot of it, and yeah, I think this weekend's gonna be a great night, great weekend of wrestling.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, like we said, we had the big bombshell announcement last week that November 14th will be Still Here 7, and it'll take place at Reformation Brewery right around the corner from the Action Building. Go on our social media if you want to find the exact address. But yeah, and then, of course, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be leading right up to the show. We'll be doing a preview of the show. We'll have all the match announcements by that point, and can't wait for Still Here 7 in a
They
new
probably
venue.
start announcing matches next week, so
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, it's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah. Any final words here to leave the fans with, or to encourage them to come to the
I
show on the
think I've
14th?
stumbled over my words enough, but I do appreciate being here, and I love our listeners. I'm glad you guys are still doing this, and I appreciate it. And I just ask the fans to trust us while we move, and bear with us and stick with us. So we're gonna make some more Southern Honor magic.
There you go.
Right.
And make some new memories along the way.
New
Yep.
memories.
All
Maybe
right.
we can do like every 5 years or so, leave the memories alone.
2.
Yeah, 2 or something. I don't know.
Every time we get kicked out of a building.
That's funny. Wow. Wow.
Every 7 years, maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So that right before Still Here 14 will be. Yeah. Anyways.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we will see you guys back
Well,
here.
still your 8 if you ask Gary.
Still here. Yeah. Gary kept saying
Wow.
8 the other day, and I was like, "What?" I look at a GB going 7. It's 7.
He
What is-
does so much. Everything runs together.
Yeah.
Anyways, Still Here 7 is on November 14th, and we can't wait to see y'all there. But we'll be
So
back.
maybe he meant that
Yep.
he was going to have his cage match next year.
Oh,
Maybe that's what he was trying to tell us.
Gives him
man.
time to train.
now
Uh-huh.
I'm now I'm all confused. I don't know. Anyways, just be on the lookout on the socials for the match announcements coming up in the next week or two, and we can't wait to see you at the new location. But we will see you back here on this podcast before that. And until then, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.